All right, so let's continue with label legends a little bit and how we can make our information kind of tidy and make it lay out well. Right, so in this example, I want to talk about our side light and how we can assign side light. So if I click on this light up here, I've gone ahead and just thrown in a purpose text tag. I just said side light. I gave it a unit number 1, color of 15, dimmer of 15, channel of 9. This is just arbitrary information, and you can put in whatever you want, or you can put in the information from your light plot so that you can tell exactly what it's supposed to be. But now let's go ahead and assign spotlight label legend, assign label legend, our vertical label legend, and you'll see where we start to have problems. Right now, all of our text is running left to right, and so that's not really working out so good for me. So what we're going to need to do is actually make another label legend, a label legend that corresponds to units that are focused to the side. So in this example, let's just go to Spotlight. We'll go down to Label Legend Manager, right? I'll select the first one. We'll say Duplicate. I'm just going to select that one and then say Duplicate. And now I'm going to rename it, and I'll say Side. And I use a little side caret so that I know which way the light is pointed, right? So that's like a little arrowhead that tells me which way it's pointed. Now I'll say OK, and it takes me back to my manager. Now the one I want to edit is going to be this side one, and so let's edit our 2D layout, and it takes me into this. Now, you will think that we want to spin the light in its position, but you don't. You want to keep the light in its 0-degree angle position, which is the angle in which it by default inserts. And every time that we put this light onto the drawing, right, if we don't do anything to it, it's just going to point what we think of as upstage, right? And so we want to leave our figure that's in our label legend, that's for spacing purposes, oriented in the same direction. So we don't want to rotate that. But what we can do is we can rotate some text. So let's go ahead and let's take our unit number, and I'm going to spin our unit number 90 degrees. I'm also going to go ahead and take our color, and I'm going to spin it 90 degrees also. And how about we take our gobo and we'll spin it 90 degrees. And again, it's all center justified text. So I'm just rotating it around the center. Now I'm going to move. I'm going to move my gobo to the bottom. Color. Let's move our color right up to above the purpose. And that's plenty for now. Let's go ahead and exit our symbol. Right? So now at this point, I don't know why that happened, but at this point, nothing has really changed, right? Well, that's because we haven't assigned our new label legend to our light. So if I select the light, spotlight, label legend, assign legend instrument, side light, and say OK. Hey, look, things are getting a lot better. My unit number is reading in the right direction. My purpose and my color are in the correct direction. But my channel and my dimmer are still a little wackadoo. Now, I'll show you an alternative approach when we do this. Let's go to Spotlight, Label Legend Manager. Let's select our side light. And this time, instead of just rotating everything in the 2D layout, let's go to the Edit Fields. And when we go to Edit Fields, this is where we had selected all of the things that we wanted displayed. You'll note that there's a column here that says Right Reading. Right reading will allow the text to remain right side up, right, to be read from the right to the left or left to right. It'll be right side up, regardless of the orientation of the fixture, which is kind of handy. So let's go down to where it says dimmer and channel, and I'm just going to put a check mark in the right reading column and say OK. Let's go back and look. Let's say done. Hey, look, our information is now turned right side up. Now that might be just fine for you, but I'm a little more picky about it, and I think I can organize this information around the butt of the light a little better than what I've done here. So let's go into Spotlight, right, and say Label Legend Manager, Side, and now let's say edit our 2D layout. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the channel and the container, right? So I'm going to select the circle. It's going to give me, it's a bit of a challenge. I may have to do a crossing select to get them both. I need to get both the circle, the container, and the channel, and I'm going to move them just above the light, just right on this side of the back side of the light. Then I'm going to select both the dimmer and the dimmer text, the container and the text, and I'm going to move it just to this side of the light. Let's look and see what we have now. Exit symbol, and look, it automatically updates. And this is a pretty neat layout for what we want to do. Now, I wonder what happens when we do the same, when we select the same light, pointed the other direction. I'm just going to call this side light, going that way, right? I'm going to give it a unit number. Let's say it's unit number 12. It's not, right? And that it's going to be R54. It's beautiful lavender, right? Its dimmer is going to be 11, right? And we'll scroll down a little bit and give it a channel of 22. That'll be fine, right? So now I typed in all that information. Again, it didn't appear because we need to give it a labeled legend, right? Assign a legend to an instrument. And now let's call it side light and say OK. Now, we did pretty good, right? But if you'll look at them, you'll see that they're mirrored, right? So the purpose and the color are on the top, and on the first one we did, they're on the bottom, and the channels on the top and the back, and they're reversed from one another. And that's pretty easy to fix, right? So that everything is in the same place all the time. It'll make life for the electricians easier. Let's go to Spotlight. Let's go to Label Legend Manager. Let's select our side light. Let's say duplicate, right? And now I'm just going to delete that caret and change it to a caret pointing the other way. Say OK. Now, which one do I want to edit? I want to edit this one. Let's edit our 2D layout. 2D layout, right? Now I just want to switch the sides for everything. Let's just take the gobo. I'm just going to drag it out of the way for a little bit. Let's put our purpose down here. Let's put our color down here. Let's move our gobo back in. I'm just moving the sides. Now, when you come down here, remember we need the container and the text to both move. And I'm just pulling them out of the way so that I can get in here and get my dimmer information and move it to the other side of the light. That looks pretty good. Sweep select my channel. Put my channel right kind of in there. How's that look? Oh, that looks pretty good, right? And we don't need to worry about turning things the other direction. The software is automatically always going to try to put your text right side up. You have to work pretty hard to actually get the text to appear upside down, right? It's always going to want to try and make it right side up for you. It's a blessing, right? So now nothing has changed because I haven't assigned the new label legend to this fixture. So let's go in and say Spotlight, Label Legend, Assign. I'll use my side light going the other way with my caret that shows that my light's pointed stage left. And I say, OK. Now look, they're mirror images of one another. Both the channel numbers are on the top, dimmer numbers are on the bottom, color and purpose are on the bottom, and the gobo would appear on the top. Right? So that's a quick way about making additional label legends. And at this point, you should be able to make label legends and be able to fill in all of the information from the light plot provided. I will see you again.